Hey everybody, here's a update on Rested Root Farms. It's been a while since we got out and filmed some stuff, and the aquaponics operation has come along a good ways. There's some new stuff to look at, so enjoy this video. So the first thing is we hadn't tied in the sump before because it was just too cold, and having this external sump was making the water temperature in the tanks really cold, so we decided just to run it on internal only. And now it's warmed up quite a bit, so we've got the external sump tank tied in, and this is just a regular old IBC that's been sunk down into the ground. We did this for a couple of reasons. We've got a pretty large volume of water in the system, about 2,500 gallons, and we needed about 1/10 of that to belong to the sump. And this IBC tote is pretty close to that, 250 gallons, so we chose to use this, and it's easy enough to come by and use. Digging the hole is not a lot of fun, but once it's done, then I think we can count on a good service life for this container for quite some time. With it being below the ground, it also provides us with some stability in the temperature of the water. Since that far below the ground stays pretty much the same temperature all the time. What we'll do probably in the winter time again is float styrofoam on top of the water level down there, so it can provide a little bit more insulation in really cold temperatures. Maybe do it in really hot temperatures too. I don't know, we'll have to see how the water temperature varies. But in any case, that's the sump that's been tied in, and one drain pipe takes everything from the entire greenhouse, and then of course one supply line going to the pump. So take a walk in and show you the new stuff. Not really anything new with the pump and the filter. All the pump and filtration is the same. We did install a UV filter clarifier not too long ago, and this thing has made a huge difference. It's the best $100 investment I've ever made. I got it off Amazon, and it's well, there's the information if you're interested, and hooked it right in. We had an algae problem before. We weren't covering the tanks properly, but now we've got these covers that you see here, and we cover the tanks during the day so that the algae doesn't crop up. And that's made a huge difference. That thing was such a great investment. As for the tanks themselves, we put a window in one of them, mostly because we had kids over here for the Easter gathering and they wanted to look at the fish and stuff, so works out pretty good. I've got my own method of making these windows. Most people put the glass on the inside so that you don't see as much in terms of the silicone and that kind of stuff, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, the whole point is that you want to see inside the tank, and it works either way. If you put the glass on the inside or outside, it's easier to do it on the outside for sure. If anybody's interested, I'll do a video on that one day. Still just goldfish in the system. We actually broke down and started getting them from the pet store because we found out they're more hardy. When we ordered them online from the company that we've been using, they died very quickly. And all of our veteran fish that were in here, they were just fine. Nothing bad happened to them during that time, so I know it wasn't a problem with the tank. These are our big guys in here, so they're doing most of the ammonia production. The main drain line starts, you can see kind of down here is the end of the main drain line, the 4-inch drain line, and it takes inputs from both of the DWC chains. So there's 2 inputs there from the DWC chains, and you can't see where the tanks drain in, not right there anyway. This one you can kind of see where its tank drain pops in there. And it's nothing more than a hole cut in the 4-inch pipe, so it's nothing fancy at all. And this same thing here, the 4-inch pipe is big enough. If you be careful about where the hole is drilled, then the water's not going to come out of there. So then it goes on out to the sump tank. And then as for the supply side, of course the pump supplies the AUV filter from AST, and that goes on to, it's a split flow, which is really not desirable for this system. I wish I'd done it differently, but It does split and go, one side goes to the tanks and one side goes to the DWC. So that side controls the DWC, so that line goes down, goes under the ground, and then supplies one of the DWCs, and then the other one supplies both of the smaller DWCs. So this middle one actually drains into the smallest one over there. Here we've got our first seedlings that have been started up. Of course, these are mostly tomatoes that you see, some arugula and cucumber or two. You know, the ones that are fruiting, cucumbers and tomatoes, are not really ideal for DWC because they require quite a higher nutrient load in order to make those fruits. So we'll see how that works out. I'm expecting to have to go to media beds on that one. I didn't show before because the DWCs weren't flooded all the way and they weren't running completely, but the drain system on these is an external drain system, so I don't have anything. I didn't want to have anything inside the DWC like a standpipe because it gets in the way. So I put it out here, and now you can kind of see how this works. So it's this standpipe has actually got slits cut in it, and I do that so that I can remove the pipe itself. If I just have a standpipe in there that's at the level that I want it to be inside the table, then it ends up being down here, and I can't get my fingers and stuff down there to grab this pipe and pull it out. So this pipe has slits cut in it right around here to set the level inside the table. That way, if I ever want to remove this and I do a quick drain on the table, then I can just pop this out of here, and the table will drain completely as I want it to. So that, of course, that drain line goes under the ground and goes back around to the 4-inch drain line that I showed you at the other end. That's where that goes. And then this bigger one here, which is not in operation at the time, still needs a new standpipe. So you see what I'm talking about. If I ever wanted to get that standpipe out of there, I can't do it because it's just too deep in there. My fingers can't reach it. And I don't want to make the 3-inch external pipe any shorter because of the risk of overflow. That actually is about the same height as the table. So anyway, this one is going to be switched over to the new standpipe design as well, with slits in it, and then a higher pipe so that I can grab a hold of it as necessary. Anyway, this one drains into the shorter table, as I've said before. There's my fig. Fig really loves fish water, so we've just now started giving the plants the nitrate-rich water that we're getting out of the system. We've just actually gotten over the nitrite spike. So as you know, with the new tanks and stuff, you go through an ammonia spike, and then you go through a nitrite spike, and then you finally have your nitrates shortly after that. And we're just now getting over the nitrite spike. So we had some fish death, of course. They've had a real hard time breathing through that. We lost some of the ones that I mentioned before. We've mail ordered a couple, and our veteran fish survived it just fine, but as soon as we put those mail order fish in there, they just keeled over. Not really sure what the nitrite level was, and the reason for that is, here's a little tip for you. If you don't have something like this, we have a cabinet now to store all of our reagents and stuff in, but if you have something like this that measures the nitrite and nitrate levels, if you leave this out in the sun, that color palette starts to fade really bad. And when that happens, it's no longer accurate to tell what the nitrite and nitrate levels are anymore. So you need to keep something like that kind of out of the sun, which is tough to do in a greenhouse because you rarely have coverage. We just had this shelving system before, but now we've got this plastic cabinet which will keep all of these reagents nice and protected, and also my equipment as well. I've got ammonia meters and pH and all that other stuff that's in there, so I'd highly recommend putting something like that in there. That's about it. So I'll post updates as they come. This is kind of a long one, but there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. So the next thing will be with plants going in the system. So, hope everybody has a great day. Hope you had a great Easter. Talk to you later.